5 p.m. one Wednesday in October 1987, Munene had fallen ill and left work early to rest at home, unaware that he was a wanted man by none other than the state. He was awoken from a deep slumber by a gentle tap on his shoulder, but when he looked up, 6 heavily built men were towering above him with guns pointed at him.
I was so terrified.
A severe beating followed before he was handcuffed, blindfolded and bundled into a waiting Land Rover. Meanwhile, his wife was asked to continue milking the cows at gunpoint and forget her husband was letting out piercing screams. His children, though, saw everything and could not be stopped from wailing. His torturers claimed he was the Secretary General of the clandestine movement called Mwakenya, which was planning to overthrow the KANU government. As he leads us to what was the only structure in his compound then, he wonders how a man of that stature could live in this house he refers to as a ramshackle.
I faced 15 counts of treason. One of them was that I was a recruiting officer of packing boys. Those days packing boys were very common in Nairobi. And transporting them to Libya and Moscow to go and train as mercenaries. After the training, come back and overthrow the democratically elected government of President Moi.
This telephone, according to his torturers, was his link with Presidents Muammar Gaddafi of Libya and Mikhail Gorbachev of the Soviet Union of Russia, where the alleged mercenaries were training. Munene says far from having the privileges of talking to those presidents, he had only installed the telephone so that he could file stories to Nairobi as a Kenya news agency correspondent in Kerugoya, considering mobile phones had not even been heard of in Kenya. Even with his eyes blindfolded, he instantly knew that he had been taken to Nyayo house when the Land Rover drove into the basement where he had parked his car several times whenever he was at the Kenya News Agency headquarters situated in the building. He was led to the lift and up to the torture chambers where he had his first experience that would be repeated over the next 2 months he was in confinement.
Those hefty guys, one of them stepped on me and then another one held my leg, the other one this one, another one that one, and then the lady now came and started piercing me.
His reproductive system was damaged.
Anybody who went there and survived, and you had no family, that was the end of you.
After that first torture session, he had only until the lift touched the basement to recover.
I thought I would go there and rest a bit, but immediately I got into the cage, I just had some very cold water now from below, rising until it reached the neck. Then they removed it and then they pumped in very warm air. Very warm indeed. So from an extreme to another extreme.
Back in the cell, days were as dark as nights, and all was quiet except for the torturers' boots and sounds of keys clinking as they opened or closed the cells.
It was lonelier than a grave.
Now he cherishes his freedom and the sound of his pets chuckling. It was only until after Kenya became a multi-party democracy that Munene could begin his search for justice. For 20 years he held his breath waiting for that justice to be served. Finally it has happened, with the court ruling that he and 20 others were indeed tortured and should each receive a minimum of 1 million shillings in compensation.
There is no monetary compensation that can adequately compensate the torture, the pain,
nor pay back the amount he spent in medication. Ever since December 1987, he has been on medication and swallows powerful painkillers almost daily.
Hell is better than Nyayo house.
Despite landing him in trouble, Munene did not quit journalism. Sylvia Chebet, Citizen Weekend, Kerugoya.